Sunk costs. Certain costs should not be considered when making a decision. In this group, we have the so-called sunk costs. Let's look at them. We will start with a short definition. By sunk costs, we mean costs that have already been incurred and cannot be recovered. In this group, we have not only money outflow, but also time invested. As we have mentioned, this sort of costs you should not take into account when deciding whether to continue a project or a business. Unfortunately, many people and firms tend to concentrate too much on them. Sunk costs may cause 3 mistakes in decision-making. Firstly, you may give up on things with future positive effects. If you look at sunk costs, you may decide to give up on projects that have benefits higher than future costs, obviously excluding sunk costs. This is due to the fact that people don't realize that sunk costs cannot be recovered. Secondly, you may keep on doing things even though the benefit is not as big as you have expected. By this, we mean situations when the expected benefit is lower than costs, due to changes in the benefit. This effect is because many people want to be consistent with their previous decisions or have not noticed that the benefit has changed. They feel obliged to keep on doing the things because they have spent their money on them. The third mistake is similar to the second one. You may keep on doing things that you have invested in, despite increasing costs. In this situation, the change did not happen on the benefit side, but on the cost side. Still, the result is the same. Sunk costs work like gravity and compel people to throw good money after bad money. Let's discuss the first situation in more detail. In most cases, in the beginning, we estimate the costs and benefits related to a project or business. The expected benefit should be higher than the costs. Otherwise, the project does not make sense. At some point, you may discover that the full total costs will be much higher than the expected benefits. This may be due to higher prices or bigger resources needed to complete the project. If you compare just the total estimated costs with the expected benefit, you may decide that it does not make sense to continue the project. Sometimes it may be a big mistake. The right approach would be to first divide the costs into 2 groups: sunk costs that have been incurred and cannot be recovered, and costs to be incurred to finish the project. After that, you should disregard the sunk costs, as you cannot recover them. You should rather compare the expected benefits with the future costs that you need to incur to finish the project. In short, only the future matters. History, although interesting, should not impact your decisions. Now let's discuss the second problem related to sunk costs. Quite often, you may also have the opposite situation. In the beginning, you had expected a benefit that was supposed to be bigger than the costs. After some time, you discover that the benefit is much smaller than the costs you must incur in the future. Surprisingly, many people still continue the project, although they know that it will cost them more to finish it than the expected benefit. To show you how it may work, let's imagine that you bought a burger expecting a great taste. After the first bite, you discover that it tastes awful. Would you continue eating, or would you throw it away? Many people would keep on eating as they don't want to waste the money that they have spent. They disregard the fact that money spent is a sunk cost, and there is no good reason to continue eating. Our need not to be wasteful can compel you to do things that no longer make sense. Now let's discuss the last problem related to sunk costs. Let's imagine that in the beginning, everything seems to be fine. You are supposed to get a higher benefit than it costs you to do the project. After some time, you revise the benefits and costs. You discover that the costs are much higher than the benefits. Even if you disregard the sunk cost, the benefit is still much smaller than future costs. Many people in such a situation keep on doing the project. Why? This is due to the fact that some people may have forgotten about the benefits, and the sunk costs compel them to continue the project to the bitter end. The best examples of such activities are investments and projects that stopped making sense, but everybody keeps on doing them. Consistency can play a bad trick on us. To sum up, there are 2 rules that are worth following. First of all, don't throw good money after bad. If you have spent millions on a bad project, don't invest more unless the benefit outweighs the future costs. Secondly, ignore sunk costs and always compare future benefits with future costs. Sunk costs can either act as a gravity force that compels you to do irrational things or cloud your judgment.